Hey guys, and welcome back to Taylor Tech. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Behringer Q502USB desktop mixer. The 502 is the second smallest member of the Xenyx line of mixers from Behringer. The Q designation simply means it is the third iteration of this line. In the box with the mixer, you get the mixer itself, a power brick, and a USB Type A to Type B cable. You can see across the top here all of your I/O on the mixer. On the back, you've got power supply and the USB Type B for hooking it up to a PC. And down here on the bottom half, you've got all of your pots for controlling levels, as well as several push buttons and your 2-track in and out. One thing I found oddly missing was the lack of a power button anywhere on it. When it's plugged in, it's on. When it's unplugged, it's off. I also noticed that it doesn't sit exactly level. I don't know if you can hear this or not, but it kind of rocks a little bit. So it's very similar to my 1622 where it didn't quite sit level and I had to prop up one corner with a little piece of cardboard to get it level. I don't know if this is a trait of Behringer mixers in general or if I've just been unlucky twice in a row. So from a spec sheet standpoint, you've got one mono channel with EQ that has a 12 kilohertz high shelf and an 80 hertz low shelf, as well as a one knob compressor. You've got two stereo channels that have no EQ, only balance and level set. You also have the USB interface on this, which seems to be the same as in the rest of the Xenyx line of USB mixers. It's a 16-bit 48 kilohertz interface on the main bus, and it sounds pretty much the exact same as on my X1622. So the compression on it actually is kind of useful if you've got a simple setup. I've found that it, with a moderate amount of compression on it, it does a good job of keeping a nice even level throughout a performance, especially if you've got someone moving or if you're not used to sitting in front of a microphone and you tend to wiggle around a little bit or you don't have a good even voice. It'll help keep your output level even for the people listening. Also, something I noted that was different about the interface on this mixer versus my X1622 is that it allowed you to both do input from the USB and output to the USB at the same time. Previously on my 1622, you could only do one or the other. You could either receive a USB signal or you could send a signal on the USB. On this mixer, you can actually do both at the same time, including sending back the signal you received from the USB. So in this way, you can kind of use that USB input as a third stereo channel if you really needed to. In terms of limitations, I find this mixer actually quite limiting. First of all, if you've watched my streaming setup video, you'll know that when you're picking a mixer or another physical device, it's always better to overestimate how many channels you need, because one thing you can't do on a physical device is you can't just add another channel. You actually have to get a whole nother device, and that can be rather expensive. With this device only having one mono channel and two stereo channels, it's pretty limiting, guys. Not gonna lie, if you're just getting started, it might be enough. But as you want to get more complex in your performance, it's not going to be quite enough for you. Another thing I found strange is that the phantom power on this is not 48 volt. It's only 15 volt, which is just odd. So the specifications for phantom power stipulate 48 volt, 24 volt, or 12 volt, with 48 volt being the preference and 12 and 24 volt being reserved for special use cases. 15 volt is nowhere in any of the specifications. It seems like it's just an underpowered phantom power. I did go back and check the phantom power on my 1622, which I had not previously checked. It is a true 48 volt phantom power. So this kind of surprised me a little bit. If you've heard of issues with the 302 USB mixer and it not providing enough power for a microphone, this would probably put you in the same boat as the 302. So where does that leave us in terms of quality and would I recommend it? First, in terms of audio quality, I didn't really notice a difference between the 502 and the 1622. The USB interface performed almost exactly the same, other than the 502 being able to input and output at the same time. I didn't run into any issues with the 15 volt phantom power on any of the microphones that I have. I have a very limited microphone supply right now, though, so I wasn't able to check it against a large number of devices. In terms of would I recommend it, that's kind of a difficult thing to answer. Generally speaking, I'm going to say no. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. If all you want is a basic interface, it will do that just fine. It'll allow you to have multiple inputs on that interface, and it'll do it for about the same price as other interfaces. In terms of using it as a mixer, it's pretty limited. The lack of an aux bus is going to be really limiting if you're doing a stream or a podcast and you want to do a mix minus for a guest, or you want to output just your microphone for like Skype or Discord or in-game voice. So from that standpoint, this can be a pretty limiting device. I would highly recommend that if you are looking at this guy, look at its bigger brother, the 802 USB instead. That's going to give you a lot more flexibility. It's going to last you a lot longer. Although I haven't tested it at 802, so I can't verify the phantom power on that. One final note I will make, because I saw this in a lot of people's personal reviews of this device, is make sure that when you plug it in for the first time, you set it up properly in Windows. Go to the recording devices and make sure you select a 2-channel 48 kilohertz input on it. It defaults to a single channel 16 kilohertz input, which is horrible. The first time I plugged it in, I thought something was broken with it, and then I realized I didn't set it up. So make sure you do set it up appropriately. It does sound good once you make those settings changes in Windows. All right, guys, I hope you found my review of the Behringer Q502 USB mixer helpful. If you did, then like this video and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. You can leave any comments or questions you have for me in the comment section down below. I try to answer as many of those as possible. And you can follow me on Twitter to see when more content comes out at Tailored Tech. And if you would like to support my channel, you can shop using my Amazon affiliate link to help me get more gear so I can do more great reviews for you. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.